Look at you all already in there. Oh, Justine, thank you for following me. You haven't even had a look and you're following me. Thank you. Hi, Christine in Canada. Kathy and Sharon and Rebecca. Welcome. North Carolina. Where are we there then? So, morning. Coffee time, I guess. Early afternoon here. And it has been glorious, but I've just felt some spitting of rain. And my weather app says absolutely no rain. So, hi, Adrian. Welcome. Nice to see you. All these people jumping in early. Yeah. It's very hard to time tours to get the people who are going to be interested and aren't at work, or, capture people who are at work. Hi, Bogey. Lovely to see you. Nice to see you again. I've actually got my battery pack plugged in at the moment to try and boost my battery. I just think I'll take that out quickly. So if I'm jerky, it's because I'm pulling on my phone. Sorry. I'll do it now while we're not actually on the tour. There we go. Pop that back in the bag. So how's everyone doing? What you need to do is, if you're completely new to Hago, pop a heart up. If you're new to me, then do a thumbs up. Because it's always nice to know who's new to me. And then I will say a little bit more in my formal introduction. Oh, well, thank you, Sharon. That's lovely. And in Australia as well. Aren't you something crazy like 2 o'clock in the morning? And Meg, where are you joining us from? It's great to see a smattering of countries, but I know you're all at crazy o'clock. I know you are. So it's even more of a pleasure. Tennessee, wow. Never been there. But then you've probably not been to Chichester. So we're Swiss. Oh, Kendall, hi. Not saying anything. It's not bedtime yet, Kendall. No, I'm not going to say that. It's 10:30. Hi, Ian. Hi, lovely to see you. Hi. I'm going to sound like RuPaul then. Hi. So there's quite a few people that are new to me, so I got to keep a lid on the crazy, not be quite so crazy for the new people. Hi, Quinn. Lovely to see you again. Thank you for joining us. Got about 6 minutes to go. I'm actually standing on a Roman wall. It's quite exciting for a starting point. Hi, Cheryl. So I've had... Oh, Kendall, don't say that you accidentally fell on my tour. Accidentally dropped into the tour. Oh, thank you, Janice. Oh, dear. You can go and hide. You can go and hide, Kendall, if you want to. Oh, that's very sweet. So I'm guessing that Kendall has been to Chichester. It would be bonkers if you hadn't. I will do a bit of crazy, if only in my jibber jabber. Kendall been to Chichester. Has anyone else ever been to Chichester? I doubt it somehow. Any of the UK people been to Chichester? It really mustn't rain. I'm not liking being spit spot on. Not yet. Ah, I'm doing it back to front, Kendall, because I got all back to front with my timing. And then I thought, how am I going to not waste time and get back to the car park in time, which is way the other side of the town. So I thought I'd do it back to front this time, and then I will end up in the right place. So we're doing it back to front, which means I may get all in the middle with the information. Who knows? They were starting on a Roman wall. What's expensive in the UK? Oh, Ian, you should have been to Chichester. Of course you have. And you went to college. So did you do teacher training then, Ian? Is that what you did? Hi, Tish. Lovely to see you. Ah. And Ian, is it right, Ian, that we went to school together? Is that right? Have I got that right? Ian calls it chai like a local. Well, that's because I think He went to school in Havant, you see. I think we went to school together, Ian. Am I right? Hi, Jennifer. Oh, lovely to see everyone. Hi, Pasquina. You're not new. Hi, Alison. For all the people jumping in, do put a thumbs up if you're new to me and a heart if you're new to Hago so that we can accommodate that. Oh, lovely, Jennifer and Cheryl. Fantastic. Oh, it's all going very quick. And Russ. Yes, we were at school together. How fun is that? And you did engineering in Chichester. Wow. So you know it very well. Hi, Becky in Michigan. So that's two people I've had from school days on my tours. Donna Coppin and now Ian V. I won't reveal your name in case you don't want me to. How fun is that? Hi, Sylvia. Giuliani. That's a name I've not seen before. Heidi. Definitely seen you before. So I've got a couple of minutes to go before we can flip the camera around and we can have a look at a bit of Roman wall. Ian Veal, yes, I know. So, Gregory, you came in to check on me and find out why anyone goes to Chichester. What? What? Parking has gone up. I can't. Parking, good point, Kendall. Point taken. Yeah, parking was £3.80. So there you go. It has gone up. Normally I do this on a Sunday and I know lots of sneaky places to park for free. Why would anyone go to Chichester? Okay, Gregory, you now have to write a review at the end. You have to write a review and tell me what you really think at the end. Or put something on Facebook Voyages. We need to know, Gregory, what you thought at the end. That is if you don't leave halfway through, of course. Anything's possible. Hi, Robert. Well, I do. Because, you know, if somebody starts off with that point of why would anyone go to Chichester, I know I'm going to turn him around. So I want to know then what he does think, because it's amazing. It's not far from London either. So it's a nice quick train ride down from London. I don't mind who writes a review, Kendall. I'm beyond. Oh, dear. I feel like I've had a few to drink, but I don't know why, because I haven't. I had a coffee. Maybe I've gone on a buzz. Right, 50 seconds to go. It is gorgeous. It's gorgeous. It's architecturally amazing, historically amazing. You can talk as much as you like, Kendall, and keep me company. It's nice. Right, 30 seconds and counting. What can we do with you later, Kendall? Oh, you're doing Busy Bees, but it's like midnight, I think. Ah, love my Esri. I don't know what that is. Oh, my Esri. Yes, have to look at my Esri. These are acrylic leaves. I like them too. I know what you meant. Oh, dear. Don't leave, Kendall. Don't leave. Right, we're off. Esri, my Esri. So I'm Ginny, and I've decided on my Instagram anyway, I call my outings Ginny's Jaunts. So welcome to one of Ginny's Jaunts. I live in Worthing, which is on the south coast of England. And today we've come about 15 miles west to our county city town of Chichester. So it is the only city in West Sussex, and that is by virtue of its cathedral status and its bishop status. Hi, Ula, lovely to see you. So at the moment, I'm going to flip you round so you don't have to look at me anymore and show you the remains of the Roman walls in Chichester. And that little outcrop you can see is a bastion. And they reckon there were 60 of these round the walls originally. And these walls were built in the 3rd century AD. And that's how old we're going to start off in Chichester. So Chichester was a Roman town of great importance. And that bastion you can see, that round brick wall, would have then in turn had a tower on the top. So they would have been massive defensive and visually good places to be. And they were where they would fire arrows off and attack the enemy down below. And these Roman walls in Chichester are pretty intact. I have done 2 tours where I walk around the walls, and you can actually do a complete circuit of the city centre. But you'll have to follow me to see when I do those again. We're not focusing on that today, but we are starting with the Roman history. And this was a town called Noviomagus Reginorum. And it was a really important place for the Romans because there was a port, and King Cogidubnus, who ruled the south of England, had his palace just outside of Chichester in Fishbourne. So this was a really important place for the Romans. And we have some evidence around Chichester. Under the museum, which is called the Novium, they have found a lot of remains, and you can now walk on glass and walk over those. Hi Hilary, lovely to see you, and Diane. So there are a lot of Roman remains, and there used to be 4 gates into the city. Now none of those exist anymore, but I have got an image for you to show you the last one that was in existence. And this was the East Gate. So they had 4 gates entering into the city, and that's the last one that survived, which was the East Gate. But none of those exist anymore. But they found amphitheatre remains, they found Roman baths. So as I say, it was significant, and the Romans stayed here for a long time. And as we approach Chichester, I'm also going to show you a picture of what Chichester used to look like. And we'll get a feel of how much that's changed as we enter into the city. Look at that. When it was just a market town. We aren't going to stay here very long, sadly, but these are the beautiful Bishop's Palace gardens. We're starting in the Bishop's Palace. We're starting on the Roman walls. And these gardens are beautiful. Oh, Pauline, that's very kind and lovely to see you. We'll come here again another time. On my Roman walls walk, we do spend a little bit longer in the Bishop's Palace gardens, but not today. But we will have a look round here because it's rather beautiful, and we will take a sneaky look through the gate to actually see the Bishop's Palace. And I'm surprised that we've still got quite a lot of flowers out, which is rather lovely. These rudbeckia here, very pretty, very nice. And the sun's come out again, so all is good in the world. And we've even got palm trees and your first glimpse of Chichester Cathedral. So Gregory, we've already got Roman walls, the Bishop's Palace gardens. How are we doing so far? Reasons to be cheerful, part 3. So here we're going to have a look through this gate, because you're not allowed to go any nearer than this, but you can look through the gate, and it makes rather a lovely picture, artistically, photographically. This is the Bishop's Palace. And the Bishop still resides there. It's quite lucky, really. Got lovely grounds and a lovely palace to live in. And there, if we could do a sneaky postcard through the gate of the cathedral, that's kind of nice. We've got a tiny bit of blue sky. Welcome, Flora, lovely to see you. So that's Chichester Cathedral in the distance, and this is the Bishop's Palace. Beautiful building. It's funny how the focus jumps in and out. It's because it's got the gates right in front of it. And they've got these lovely castellated walls all the way around the Bishop's Palace. Good name for a pub. What, castellated walls? Oh dear, the Bishop's Palace, yes. Better than the Bishop's Finger. Oh, I'm sorry. I've got really good signal, Diane, so I don't quite know what that's about. Sorry, does anyone else experience that? And thank you for telling me, because it's always good to know. Thanks, Kendall. So here we go. Thanks, Tish. Here we go. It's like the secret garden, isn't it? So we're leaving the Bishop's Palace garden, but it's all just beautiful round here. Thanks, Bogey. So this is an ancient gateway, but it's not Roman. It's rather beautiful. And I will warn you that as we go through this gateway, because it's solid walls, we do sometimes get a dip. I'm going to be a bit cheeky, because you're really not supposed to do this, but it says private drive. There's a slightly better picture of the Bishop's Palace. I'm not going any further than that. Welcome to all of you who are just joining us. We're about to go through this gateway, and we may get a dip in signal. We may not, of course. It's rather lovely. Your new favourite pub. There we go. The signal has just dropped off the planet, and we should pick up again. So Kendall and I are going to open a pub called the Bishop's Palace. You will have gone fuzzy then. Yeah, I knew it would dip. It should pick up the minute we're clear of that. Oof. You have to go through these dips to get to the other side, I'm afraid. But we are surrounded by amazing buildings. That's the deanery. So all the important people of the cathedral get to live in all these amazing houses. Oh, come on, Bogey, let's go. Let's go to our new pub. Sometimes I think I'd like to run a pub. No, I used to be a barmaid. It's hard work. So I'm going to stop in a minute because this is just a lovely view, and I'm going to do a vertical shot. So with a warning to you all, we're going vertical in 3, 2, 1. No, we're not. We're going off. Oh, Lord. Sorry about that. I did one press too many and tipped you all upside down. So there you go. That, I think, is a gorgeous shot of the cathedral. I mean, we usually have it covered in scaffolding. It is hard work, Bogey. I'm not going to do it, not really. And we're going back in 3, 2, 1. I'm glad you like that as a postcard. And we're going to walk along this little path. And we're very lucky because we've still got roses out. I really wasn't expecting that. And this is called St. Richard's Walk. There is another one that runs parallel. It's called Cannon's Row. But this is St. Richard's Walk, and we're going to see a statue of St. Richard later. So I'll tell you about him when we get a bit Nora. When we get a bit Nora. So Gregory, is that a thumbs up because you're liking it so far, or is that a thumbs up for the roses? I was going to say that, Kendall, but I thought, no, I must not be impolite. Must not be impolite. Oh, thank you for following me, Kathy. There, look at that for a postcard. Oh, that is so cool. So we've got roses and we've got some lovely geraniums. You took Voyager liberties. Do be careful about that. Warning, we have a signal dip. It is going to get worse. We are about to go through cloisters. Look at this. How Harry Potter is this? We haven't lost the signal. I can't believe it. Normally the signal goes here. How do you like these cloisters? So we've come from the Bishop's Palace where the Bishop lives. Isn't it great? And now we're approaching the outer buildings of the cathedral itself. And if I can take a shot, they've also set up an area just out here where people have been laying flowers for the Queen. There is still a bishop here. Yes, it's a very, very active city cathedral. And we have a bishop. and he lives there. We are dipping in the signal. I knew that would happen, so I'm not going to stay here. But that's the cloister. And normally there are sculptures out in that garden. I know. So let's get outside so that we get our signal back. So this cathedral has a very checkered history, I'm afraid. And again, it's one of those buildings that you can't really say when was it built. By the way, I meant to tell you that the Bishop's Palace was built in 1187. So even that, we're going back quite a way. Hi, Memphis Paul and Helen. So yes, we've still got a bishop here. I'm going to get sidetracked a little bit. I will tell you about the cathedral. I just want to show you this lovely lamp, which is a really old street lamp. That's quite a nice postcard as well. Oh, thank you. That's very kind, Janice. Look at that. Would it be nice if they were all like that, all around the town? So, I'm also going to get a little bit more. So this is just Chichester Cathedral, Becky. And the patron saint of Chichester is St. Richard. We're coming up to him in a moment. This is Chichester Cathedral. Has anybody else lost sound? Becky, are you refreshing? Have you got it? Thank you, Fraser. Thank you. I've become very interested in buildings and architecture, so I like to linger on the images anyway, Fraser. But I'm very conscious that people do like to capture the pictures. So this is the main entrance to Chichester Cathedral, which looks like they've got new brickwork up there, to be honest. We're not going to go in because I know we would definitely lose signal. Oh, Kendall, stop it. Before I talk about the cathedral, I just want to get sidetracked on to this little gateway. Thank you, Bogey. Oh, I'm really sorry, Becky. Kendall, stop it. So, has anybody ever heard of a pre-Bendel school over the motorbikes? Has anybody ever heard of one of these types of school? They are all over the UK. Pre-Kendall, no, pre-Bendel. Pre-Bendel. So the whole point of a pre-Bendel school, it is funded by the cathedral, and they actually are basically a school for choristers. And originally that would have been just boys, but in more recent times it's also for girls. Roots go back to the 11th century, and it's actually the oldest school in Sussex. And it was, as I say, a school for choristers, and choristers still go there, and girls and boys have been there since 1972. There's 120 places for 3 to 13-year-olds. The original building of the school, which we can't see from here, was a 13th century schoolhouse, and it had access straight directly to the east wing of the Bishop's Palace. So that was the whole thing about, the whole point was to get choristers for the cathedral. And the word prebendal comes from the Latin word praebere, which means to furnish or offer. In other words, they paid for the places at the school to furnish or to offer. It was a stipend paid by the cathedral so that they could go to that school, which I think is lovely. And thank you for following, Meg. So that now brings us to the cathedral itself. But first of all, we have to look at how bizarre that this is the bell tower. This is the bell tower, and it isn't connected to the cathedral. And that's quite unusual, that the bells are not part of the cathedral. But we're going to do a little bit of history of the cathedral, and you'll realise, it's had its ups and downs, including the spire into the So let's see. It does say St. Richard on there. Yes, it does. I'm just worried why my signal's gone. Have people still got picture? It's all gone very quiet, and I'm worried. You're okay, Jennifer. Good. Okay, good. Let's crack on then. So the original cathedral, the building started in 1076, and it was made from stone from Quor on the Isle of Wight, which is quite local. It's just over the water. I'm sorry about that. I think it's just playing around a little bit. Let's carry on regardless. So the cathedral was started in 1076 and was completed in 1108 and was dedicated at that point to the Bishop Luffer, who was the bishop at the time. But originally it had a wooden roof, and there were many fires and a lot of destruction, and it was rebuilt and reconsecrated in 1199. And in 1400, the medieval spire that you can see way up there was completed, and this separate bell tower was completed. And that is the only surviving medieval bell tower in the country. So that's quite impressive. Now, there was a shrine to St. Richard in the cathedral, but that was destroyed in 1538. But they do have still some way, a dedicated area dedicated to St. Richard. That's very kind, Gregory. I hope you're becoming impressed with Chichester. So we're now going to walk towards the middle of the town, past this big bell tower, which we did hear earlier. We did hear the bells, which was nice. All right, forget the school children are coming out. Unfortunately, we've got one of the biggest problems in the UK at the moment since the pandemic. This used to be a really big, lovely department store called House of Fraser within a beautiful building. And since the pandemic, that's closed and nothing is happening in there, which is such a shame. So there's another angle of the cathedral. Now, we've had at least a couple of years with no scaffolding. And last time I came, a couple of months ago, there was no scaffolding. And yet here we go. We're back. Sorry, Fraser. Must be the name. And these big panels weren't here before either. That doesn't do well for postcards. But when we get to the end of this, we should get another nice shot of the cathedral. Are you in the UK, Fraser? Somewhere in the UK, maybe? It does say what's happening to the cathedral. I can't stop to read it, but it's all about repairing the roof. Oh dear. Oh, that is massive then. That does sound quite significant. To bear that in mind, that means there'll be scaffolding up for ages. Yes, Gregory, I agree. Absolutely agree. Just have to block your ears to the rich language that's going on. I think it's a beautiful building. I like this kind of stone as well, sort of yellowy stone. Came all the way from the Isle of Wight. So in a minute I'm going to turn and do you another vertical shot to get the whole of the spire, and then we'll head into the town and look at the other interesting buildings that there are. I'm sorry, my signal seems to have dipped again. It's very unpredictable. Just before I started, I couldn't access the app at all. So we're going to go vertical in 3, 2, 1, so that you can get a nice shot of the cathedral against not too bad a sky. Sorry, let's press on. Diane Fraser, that's very kind. Thank you. So, coming into the centre of town, and the first interesting thing that we're going to see. Oh, sorry. Okay, get a slight increase in bars. Can anybody do a thumbs up if you can hear me okay? Anybody out there? Anybody out there? Oh dear. Anybody out there? I'm going to go away and come in again, I think. Oh, I'm really sorry. And one never knows why this is happening, unfortunately. So can anybody hear me? And is the picture pixelated? Hi, Emily and Carol. Nice to see you. Picture's still jerky. Okay. So what I'd like to show you is the butter market and space for people to do trade. And this was first built in 1501. Thank you, Diane. Sorry about the picture. Are you getting that, Tish? It's a beautiful structure, you're right. So 1501, it was gifted by the bishop so that people could carry on trading and have a little bit of shelter. And that carried on until 1807, because in 1807, they opened a butter market, which we're going to see in a minute, which provided even more covered trading space, which obviously in the UK is a really important point. I mean, as you can see, there are people trading in the street, but really you can't trade in the street for very long in the UK. Hi, Johnny L. Thank you for joining us. We're in Chichester on the south coast of England. And you missed the cathedral, but we're now coming to the building that replaced the purpose of the market cross. And this is the butter market. And the architect for the butter market is actually John Nash, He's quite a famous British architect. It's rather a lovely building. And that is still serving some of that purpose today. There are eateries in there and some small shops. So it's still an indoor trading area, as its original purpose was. Oh, Becky, I'm so sorry. Last time I did this tour through the middle of Chichester, there was no problem at all with signal. I've gone green again. So I'm going to draw your attention now to this cute little church. This is the Church of St. Olaf. And this is very old. This is actually a Saxon building, absolutely amazing. The Church of St. Olav, it says, but it's actually St. Olaf, two sorts of spellings. So 11th century, 13th, 14th, bits of restoration in the 19th century. And one of many churches dedicated to St. Olav or Olaf, King Olaf Haraldsson, who's the patron saint of Norway. And he lived from 995 to 1030. That's pretty amazing. Now, it is a bookshop. And I won't take you inside, but I can show you inside St. Olaf's little bookshop. It's kind of cute. You could say he's from Frozen. Maybe that's what's making the signal be frozen. And I'm going to do a vertical shot because it's a nice little building. So in 3, 2, 1, we're off. Get it all in. Kind of cute. It's got its own little bell tower at the top. And a lovely little doorway and window. No, it's not a religious bookshop. It's just a bookshop. Well, I think actually it does say it's a Christian bookshop. I thought it was just all sorts, but it does say on the other side Christian bookshop. So that makes sense, doesn't it? But how tiny is that, squashed between the other buildings? Crazy, really. But a lovely building nonetheless. So we're going to walk down the high street and where the cyclists should not be cycling. You know, we've got a few funky bikes along the way. I've seen 3 today.
Right, can you hear me now?
That's the first one.
No,
it's cute. Can't stop there, lady's on her phone. Yeah, it's good how they repurpose the buildings, and very good that they keep the old structures. I mean, I often stop and look up, you know, some of these buildings are really old. That's a typically Georgian building. It's not of any note because it's boots, but the one next door has got very old tiled roof. So a lot of these, what I would call more modern buildings, date back to about the 1700s, early 1800s. But they're all very interesting. So now we're going to meet another interesting chap. I wonder if anyone will know who this is. I think you will, because his statue is everywhere. But you might then need to know, why is his statue in Chichester? So, does anybody know who the gentleman on the left is? You should be able to tell by his hat. Oh, I missed how old he was when he died, but he was born in 995. Yes, Bogey. No, Diane. Chichester is the city town of West Sussex. So the county that I live in is West Sussex, and Chichester is our city, the only city in West Sussex, and it's kind of the administrative council-based centre for the whole county. And we're about an hour and a half from London, straight down more or less, very near the south coast. Ah, yes. Oh, Cirencester, not the same. So that is Lord Nelson, and that's his friend George Murray. And the reason we've got the statue here is because George Murray lived in Chichester, and he had a significant role in the Navy along with Horatio Nelson. So George Murray was born in Chichester in 1759, and he joined the Navy when he was 11. It sounds crazy to us, but it wasn't uncommon You know, little boys ran away and joined the Navy very young. So he became involved with Nelson, and he rose to the very high point of being sort of second in command, really. He was the rear admiral. So he joined the Navy in 1770, and he served with Nelson at the Battle of Copenhagen in 1801, and they became really quite close friends. Thank you, Diana. And he served under him, and he missed being at the Battle of Trafalgar purely by chance because he was ill. And in 1804, he became a rear admiral, but by 1808, he settled back in Chichester again, and he died at the age of 60 in 1819. And we'll see his house in a while. His house is now the Ship Hotel and was built in 1790. So we'll see his house as we go a bit further along. And the sculptor of that is a man called Vincent Gray. That's quite a new statue for Chichester, but I think it's rather lovely, and I think the story behind it's rather lovely too. Now, we talked at the very beginning about the Roman history, and I can't risk losing my signal anymore, but there is something very significant under here, which I will try and zoom in on, but I don't want to go close to, well, I might risk it. We need to talk about this because it's a really interesting bit of Roman history. Under here is something called the Minerva stone. I'm going to take a couple of steps in and see what happens. But if I completely lose, I will go back out again. This is a Roman stone that was found on this site when they started to build this building. And it's called the Minerva stone. And I will escape because I'm going to lose you if I don't. And what it says on the Minerva stone translates to, bearing in mind Neptune and Minerva were Roman gods. Sorry, I've come out to try and get better focused again. What it says on the stone is, to Neptune and Minerva, for the welfare of the divine house, by the authority of Tiberius Claudius Cogidubnus, King Imperial Legate in Britain. So that was found here in 1723 when they started building this building, but it makes reference to King Cogidubnus, who lived just outside of Chichester, as we said at the very beginning, at Fishbourne Roman Palace. I am trying to get permission to film at Fishbourne Roman Palace, hoping to bring you that fairly soon. So let's have a little talk about this building. This is also interesting. So this is the council buildings. I've performed in here. I can't believe it. And I'm just looking at it, remembering. I've done a concert in here, and my father used to exhibit his paintings in here. So it's been all sorts of things. It actually was a group of connected buildings with the ones to the right of it. And they were built at different times. So it was begun in 1731. And then the assembly rooms were added in 1746 and then finally finished in 1813. It's still the council chambers, still has the mayor's parlour upstairs. And originally this building, which is quite amazing, cost £1,189 to build. You don't get much for that nowadays. Beautiful building. So that is still council chambers upstairs, and various things happen downstairs, including me performing. Yes, Cogidubnus Gregory. It's an amazing name. Check it out on the internet, Cogidubnus and Fishbourne Roman Palace. Look at these lovely little side streets. Not to get distracted, of course, but you know, they're all lovely. This is one of my favourite shops, and we've got another lovely bike. This is the L'Occitane shop, French perfume soap. How lovely is that? L'Occitane en Provence. And another bike, another photograph. And we've got good signal back again. So Chichester is basically very simple to navigate because the market cross in the middle is the middle. And then we have 4 streets, which are very cleverly named: North Street, South Street, West Street and East Street. It's quite easy to find your way around. And then, as I say, the Roman walls go all the way around that. And another time we can walk the Roman walls and go all the way around. Hi Laura, welcome. It's another snazzy bike. This belongs to the Waffle and Pancake Sundaes and Shake shop. Very cute. So, we will see in a minute another of one of Chichester's oldest buildings. And this is called the Old Cross. That is now a pub, rather nice pub. And this was built in 1688. So this is a Tudor building, proper Tudor building. It was originally 2 premises, 2 tenements. And then it was converted into an ale house and knocked out to be 1 building. But that's actual Tudor building, which is really quite old and is filling up with people already. So I'm going to turn so that you can see where we've come down the middle from the market cross down to here, away from the cathedral. It's quite a big city. I mean, we're only in one small area of it. It's a nice little end to that Tudor building. So we're now going to stretch our feet and go this way a bit further. All the buildings are lovely. I mean, I haven't researched every building in Chichester, but that's a typical Georgian building with the pillars and the very regimented square windows. And that would have been someone's private residence at one time. Just lovely. Rather too many charity shops, as everywhere. Rather too many eateries. And that's the way the world is going, unfortunately. So I'm hoping to end up by taking you to Priory Park. Now, those of you who've been on my Roman walls tours will know that last time we came, we went to Priory Park. There was an amazing saxophone quartet playing. And we walked around the walls and had a very nice moment with the saxophone players. They won't be there today. They're only there on Sundays. Again, look at these lovely houses opposite. Again, Georgian. Georgian means they were built in the reign of George III. So that's before Queen Victoria. So we're talking 1800s, late 1700s. Look at that one. I'm going to zoom in on that one. It's just beautiful with the flowers around the door. How lovely is that? Even got flowers on the cover there. And the one next door, again, typically Georgian. Beautiful houses. Can you imagine pulling up in your carriage on the left? You've all gone very quiet. I'm used to chatting with people and everyone's gone very quiet. So there's another Georgian house, 3-storey house this time. That used to be a nursery school. My nephew went to nursery there. So we're going to work our way around to Priory Park, which is where we're going to end up. They are lovely houses, Bogey. Really nice. Very conscious I don't like following people's too closely. There's another nice one over there, look. Brilliant. So we're going to turn off the main road here and go to Priory Park. And we'll have a quick look at the Roman walls before we say farewell. How much nicer would it have been in the days where there were no cars and we would just be walking in our elegant long dresses, and we would be, the only thing you'd hear would be horses and carriages. Now, this is the back of the Ship Hotel. Now, do you remember we said earlier when we were looking at the statue of Murray and Nelson? That's where Murray was born. And that would have been quite some house. So it's now the Ship Hotel. So you can see where they've added on, where the brick changes colour. But that would have been his house right on the high street. Pretty awesome. Yeah, but you know, I'd swap horse poop for petrol fumes any day. Oh, that's a nice picture. The flowers. Those lovely flowers. So you can see the entrance to the park. And the history behind this park will have to wait for another day. It's kind of a tease to get you to come on another Chichester tour. But I hope that Gregory has some different thoughts now on possibly why you might want to visit Chichester. And maybe you could write a review about how you thought, I don't know about this one, dodgy tour, somewhere I've never heard of. Why would anyone go to Chichester? So you could write a nice review about how you turned your thinking around. It might have gone by now. So there is an old priory in the middle there. It was built as a church for the priory actually, but was never actually got to be used as a church for various reasons. As I say, that history is for another day. I'm just going to take you around here so that we end back at another section of the Roman walls, so that we can, maybe I can do a tour in Balmoral. I'm a bit far from there, darn it. And there's plenty of people doing London. I just stay on the south coast. Oh, Budgie flew away. Some budgies in here. Oh, thank you, Heidi. It's very kind. I love history. I kind of wish I'd had more time to do history. I did it at A-level, which is the highest our schools go. But then my career took a very different turn. So history got put on the back burner. So there we go. There is a little bit of Roman wall there. Yeah, Balmoral's up in Scotland. I can't possibly do tours in Scotland. And there's lots of people covering that. There you go. Still lots more to learn. So the other thing that I do in and around Chichester, it's not where I live, but I love it. A canal walk. There is a canal just outside Chichester. So I shall be doing a poetry and canal walk. And I do the Roman walls in two sections. So one of them starts here in Priory Park and goes a quarter of the way round with a lot of more Roman history. And the other one starts in the opposite quadrant over by the Bishop's Palace Gardens where we started. So there's a few that I do around Chichester. One of my favourite tours, which I think you'd love, is Arundel Castle, up close and personal, and that's coming up at the end of the month. So if you follow me and check out my tours, thank you, Elizabeth, and thank you, Ian. If you check what I'm doing, I think you'll find the historical ones are rather interesting. So my next tour is actually next week, is a new one, and it's called Boxgrove Priory. And I'm actually going to be talking about the finds that they made there of human remains which were 500,000 years old. So they're not Homo sapiens, they're Homo heidelbergensis. That's where that starts, and then there is a beautiful church and a beautiful ruins of a priory. That is going to be amazing, and that's a new tour. And then also soon we've got the Arundel Castle one coming up. So they're two that I really like to deliver. They're very much history based. And we're going to end up with this lovely shot of a druid. He's an unknown druid, but I just like it. And if we just take a look over here, you can see another section of the Roman wall running around the back. This is one of the most intact sections, actually. And as I say, we will come back and do that another time. Walk the Roman walls of Chichester. It's a lovely park. A couple of gentlemen here playing bowls. So yes, I hope you've enjoyed today. I hope you've had different thoughts about what Chichester's all about. We had some lovely weather, which I wasn't expecting. And I think we've seen the history where we started. Or has brought you joy, or you've gained some interesting insight, learnt a few things, then please do show your appreciation. We can only move forward and bring you more different things and let the platform grow if you help by contributing to the tours. But as I always say, my purpose is to bring you joy. And if I've made one person happy and brought you joy, then that's my job done. So lovely to see you all. See you all again soon. Take care wherever in the world you are. And thank you for all the people that are new. I hope to see you again. And for all my lovely old favourites, great to see you all again. Take care. Bye for now. Bye-bye.